As we sit here today, single-family homes in Woodbury, District 833 schools in Woodbury, there are 2 homes for sale. 2 single-family homes under $400,000. That's crazy to me. So the spring real estate market is off and running, and it's as chaotic as ever. As I sit here today, it's about May 1st of 2024, and the last 30 days has been just crazy in the world of real estate. And I feel like every single spring for the last probably 5 years, we're repeating the same thing. There is nothing for sale, and buyers are competing on every single listing that comes on the market. This is true in all price points. This is true just about in every marketplace right now. Buyers are just hungry for inventory. I think buyers have moved into, or getting close to, the acceptance phase of interest rates. Interest rates as we sit here today are roughly around 7%. There's been talks earlier this year of 3 to 5 interest rate reductions. They've come out in the last week to 10 days and said, whoa, wait a minute, inflation's not where we want it. We're not going to make those interest rate reductions. So they feel that interest rates will probably hover around that 7% mark for the rest of 2024. Who knows? I'm done trying to guess what interest rates are doing. I think the buyer's done trying to guess what interest rates are going to do. And the buyer has just said, if I'm going to get out of this rental situation, I've just got to buy, roll the dice on interest rates. When and if they do come down, I can hopefully refinance. If they don't, I've got to just accept where my payment is today and move forward with the purchase before these home prices get so high that I can't afford to buy a home anymore. Speaking of high home prices right now, believe it or not, and just specifically here in Woodbury, I just was meeting with a client last week that is going to put his home on the market for about $400,000. As we sit here today, single-family homes in Woodbury, District 833 schools in Woodbury, there are 2 homes for sale, 2 single-family homes under $400,000, and that's at 400 and under. That's crazy to me to think about that there are 2 homes for sale under $400,000 in Woodbury. Some interesting stats have come out in the last couple of days that I just want to share with everybody. And I want to look at the Twin Cities 13 county region. I want to look at specifically Washington County in my market, and then narrow it down even to Woodbury in my market to kind of show you some differences in markets and how every market is local. And I always tell people, not only is it important to work with a good local professional that understands your local market, but understands your local neighborhood and sometimes your local streets and your local section of homes on that particular street. I mean, there's 4 or 5 streets in Woodbury that are, the top 4 or 5 streets to live on in Woodbury. And those are always in high demand. So that's why I want to start from a broader picture and work my way down into what's happening here, specifically in some of the local markets. In the 13 county Twin Cities region, new listings are up about 5% right now. Closed sales are down roughly about 1%, so it's about flat. And the median sale price of a home is up roughly 2.8%. So the median sale price of a home is about $426,000 in the 13 county Twin Cities region. If we get into Washington County, you'll see that new listings are up only 1.5%. Closed sales are down almost 3%. And the median sale price has gone up almost 10% in Washington County. Very interesting to me. Our median sale price in Washington County is nearly $500,000 right now. That's almost $75,000 more than the 13 county Twin Cities region. As you drill even further down into the Woodbury market, our new listings, our inventory has spiked a little bit. We're up almost 5% in new inventory. Now, I think some of that in Woodbury is driven by new construction. We're seeing a lot more new housing inventory pop up in Woodbury. So I think we've got more options right now for buyers than maybe some of these other markets. Closed sales are up about 2%. And the change in median sale price in Woodbury is up almost 15%. So again, going back to the 13 county Twin Cities region, seen about a 3% increase in median sale price. In Woodbury, it's almost 15%. So we're outpacing the market by about 10% here locally in Woodbury. We're seeing the average sale price in Woodbury right now for the first quarter of 2024, almost $100,000 more than the 13 county Twin Cities region at $525,000. That's incredible. Yeah, I can remember even 5-6 years ago that average sale price was in the 3s, and now we're at $525,000. So that's crazy to me. It's making affordability very challenging for folks that want to live in Woodbury, and it's going to be some very interesting times ahead. If you're a buyer competing in this marketplace right now, I cannot tell you how important it is to A, be working with a really, really good, proven local real estate expert, and B, be working with a really solid lender. To be working with a part-time, inexperienced lender or agent right now, you're going to really struggle to get into a house. Some interesting statistics just came out yesterday. Last week, of all the offers written, 1 in 4 buyers, so 25% of the buyers, waived their inspection contingency. So we're getting back into waiving inspections. I can remember sitting here 6 months ago saying, I think 3 to 4 out of 5 or 6 homes that we were selling, they were inspecting homes again. So we've turned that on its head again in order to win. They're waiving inspections. Only 1 in 10 of the homes that have sold in the last 3 months was a buyer contingent on selling their home. So if you have a home to sell and you're going out there as a contingent buyer right now, you've got about a 10% chance of winning in multiple offers. It's going to be very challenging for you to win right now if you've got a home to sell. It's really important to get that home under contract to be a strong buyer right now. Less than 10% were cash buyers. We're seeing fewer cash buyers, I think, than we were probably 3 or 4 years ago. 17% of the offers that were written in the last 90 days had seller paid closing costs. So I know you're hearing a lot of information from lenders right now that are saying we can do some of these buy downs, rate buy downs, and some of these seller paid closing or seller contributions towards buyers' closing costs. We're not seeing as much of that right now. Again, I would say 6 months ago, it was more the norm. I'd say 50% of the homes that we're selling, we'd see seller paid closing costs. But right now in multiple offers, less than 20% of the homes that are selling right now are seeing seller paid closing costs. One interesting piece, and I thought seemed low to me, that only 9% of buyers have appraisal gap guarantees right now. And what that means is if I'm a buyer and I'm purchasing your home for $550,000 and I give you an appraisal gap guarantee, and that appraisal comes in at $500,000, I'm covering that gap of $50,000. I will tell you, in the last 2 weeks, I've sold 8 homes. Of those 8 homes, 4 of them, so 50% of them, had appraisal gap guarantees. So this seems low to me. I think this is going to be more of the norm right now as we get into this even more competitive spring market. And the last statistic I will share with you is 26% of home sales went into multiple offers. That also seems low to me. Of the 8 homes that I sold, 7 of them saw multiple offers. Again, some of that is my clients timed it right. We waited for that sweet spot in the marketplace. We waited for there to be nothing for sale in their neighborhood, on their street, in their school district, and their price point. We waited for that sweet spot, and when everything was off the market, we put theirs on the market. That's creating less supply and more demand. So I think timing is important, but it's really tough to compete right now as a buyer. I can tell you that we're back to that multiple offer, giving away the farm, the firstborn, a blood sample, everything you need to do in order to get a house right now. I don't know how long this will last. So if you're a seller right now, I would capitalize on this. I think, as I've mentioned many, many times to my clients and on previous podcasts, this is an election year. This is going to be a very, very fickle election year. And I think the closer we get to election season, the more specifically my market, the upper bracket, is going to say, I'm going to wait, I'm going to take a step back, and I'm going to see what happens before they make any large purchasing decisions. Now, that being said, for the first time in probably 8 years, my phone started ringing in the last 2 weeks from clients that said, we were going to move some money out of the markets and put it into real estate. We want to put it into something that's more of a safe investment right now, as we feel the market, the stock market is pretty volatile. So we want to put it into real estate. So I'm seeing some of that happen right now. So there could be some good opportunities for upper bracket sellers right now to capitalize on buyers that want to find a safe haven for their money and put it into upper bracket real estate. So there's plenty of opportunity out there for sellers. There's not a lot of opportunity for buyers right now. But, as we get into, I think, the second half of this year, we might see a slight shift in inventory picking up because buyer demand slips a little bit. It's hard to say, and a lot of that's going to be interest rate driven. As we sit here today, believe it or not, year over year, it kind of goes against what I was just saying, but housing inventory has gone up from about a 1 month supply to about a 2.5 month supply of inventory right now. Now that's the entire 13 county Twin Cities metro. Again, specifically in certain neighborhoods and certain areas, we're seeing, a week's supply of inventory. But inventory has picked up overall. I think some of that, again, is new construction. We're seeing more housing units be put up in a lot of these suburbs. And days on market, believe it or not, has gone from 10 days to about 30 days. So we've tripled days on market right now. Again, this is looking at the last 90 days. So I think if you look at the last 9 days, that's going to change some of this data. I think you'll see that come down off the 30 mark into the low 20s to upper teens. Right now I'm telling my clients the expectation for most price points is about a 2-week absorption rate. So you should expect to be on the market for about 2 weeks right now. So again, a lot of those that I'm setting those expectations for, we're on the market for 2 days and we're seeing homes. I think on average, my homes that I sold, of the 8 I've sold in the last 2 weeks, we're right around 104% of asking price. So it's crazy out there. It's a bidding war again. And sellers, if I was you, I'd take advantage of this if you're going to do something this year. Buyers, if now is the time to buy, like I said, align yourself with somebody that can help guide you through these very uncertain times. I won't get into the whole NAR lawsuit right now. That's a whole nother conversation for a different podcast, but that is also something that's going to have a very huge impact on your ability to purchase come July 1st. As a buyer's agent, we're now going to have to collect a commission directly from our buyers come July 1st if this whole NAR lawsuit gets settled. If you're thinking of buying or selling, it's a really, really interesting time right now. I would really encourage you to work with a good, experienced professional. Somebody that's newer to the market right now is very challenged by this whirlwind of information out there right now. So would love to help. Feel free to reach out.